Power outages can happen at any time, without warning, and can leave your home powerless for days. Hilscher Clarke has partnered with Generac to bring you the #1 selling home standby generator brand, engineered and built in the USA since 1959. With a home standby generator, your home will never lose power again. Generac generators activate automatically in the event of any power loss and restore power to your home within seconds. Don't leave your home unprotected. Trust only the best. Hilscher Clarke's residential division are experts in their profession and go above and beyond to provide you with quality, efficient service at a fair price. Starting with the estimate, they keep you informed regarding status and completion of your projects. They also give you shorter arrival windows and send you email and text confirmations of your scheduled service appointment, as well as notifications when their electricians are on their way to your home. Hilscher Clarke's Google reviews speak for themselves, with more than 270 reviews and 4.9 stars. And if you've just recently purchased an electric vehicle but don't want to rely on public chargers to keep your battery full, Hilscher Clarke has all the juice you can handle for your home vehicle charging needs. Hilscher Clarke is a certified Q Merit Solutions partner, making them market leaders in electrification and recommended by local dealerships. Visit them online at www.hilscher-clarke.com. That's HILSCHER-CLARKE.com. Or stop down and see them at 519 4th Street Northwest in downtown Canton. Or contact Hilscher Clarke today at 330-452-9806. That's 330-452-9806. Remember, it's your home, it's our family. Trust only the best. Hilscher Clarke Electric Company. Welcome in, everybody, to Stark Media's High School Football Weekly as we break down some of the local games we saw last week in Week 3 of Ohio High School Football and get you ready for Week 4 coming up here in just 3 days. We're live here inside of the Presentation Center on the grounds of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm TJ Downing, joined to the left of me by my good friend Jim Bostic, longtime Norton administrator, and our guys Jeff Tyler and Rod Strata, part of our other crew that's out there around the county. Every week you can check us over at Stark Media Team, at Stark Media Team, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We'll have some new platforms that we'll be launching for you this week with our good friends down in Dayton at TKDS Sports. So alongside Ohio High School Athletic Association and TKDS Sports, you'll be able to catch us streaming live all over the state of Ohio in a larger pool. So as we get ready here inside of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, we want to make everybody aware that, hey, this weekend they are celebrating 60 years of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Everything that's gone on here, all the legends that have come through, the busts that are right over here across from us. Saturday, if you are a resident of Stark County, admission is free for you. Now, you get down here 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., you get a chance to meet Dave Robinson, legendary Green Bay Packer and Penn State Nittany Lion at Rod, one of your guys. I'm sure you'll be here from 1 to 2. Morton Anderson, the legend from Michigan State, will be in the house. And then I'm sure Rod will stick around because I know he probably learned everything he knows from a guy like Joe DeLamielleure. So you're going to have 3 gold jackets in the house on Saturday. Dave Robinson, Morton Anderson, Joe DeLamielleure, going from 11 to 4 o'clock. Admission is free. You're going to get food, activities. Goldie the Goat's going to be here. I'm sure Jim Bostic, he's the goat. He'll be running around here somewhere as well. But
yeah, holding Goldie's leash.
Make sure to check out 60 years of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and then Sunday they'll kind of wrap it up and put a bow on it with the actual bows, the Black Tie Gala. That event will be held this Sunday, celebrating 60 years of the Hall. And right here, presentations always brought to you on the Stark Media Team YouTube channel and channels, brought to you by our friends at Hilscher Clarke Electric Company. They keep the lights on around here. Appreciate them. And the Eagles FOE 190 in downtown Massillon. All right, guys, as we dive into it, we're going to take a little review here. First segment, not for the guys to the left of me, but Jim and I will get a chance to talk about some games that you and I actually were out calling this past weekend. Great football games. But for you guys down to the left, partnership of Rod Strata, the Michigan State All-Big Ten performer and Perry Football Hall of Famer. When you guys look at what happened between McKinley and Kaufman. Now, you guys are going to get a chance to see McKinley take on Perry this week when you're back on your old stomping grounds, Rod. But, Jeff, when you look at McKinley bouncing back after getting smacked in the mouth by Avon, going down 2 hours to Dublin, not an easy trip.
Right. Not only did they, take one on the chin from Avon there, which is a good team. No, no
year in, year out.
No problem there. They got it handed to them a little bit, and they came out soft too against Dublin Coffin. They were down 14-0 early. But what I like is without having Nino Hill and without having Dante McClellan on the field, down 14-0 early, they stepped up, they came back, and ended up pulling it out 24-14. Keaton Rohde, 3-year starter, solid kid, solid Solid quarterback. He led them back through 255 yards, and I would consider him a two-way player since he's a field goal kicker. And kids, TJ, you played for probably the most famous coach that talks about special teams.
Yep.
At Ohio State, and special teams is important. And Keaton Rhodey can hit it from 40 plus, which didn't realize he had that kind of leg. So I think that could be good going down the stretch, especially going into league play this week once they face your alma mater, Perry. But they look pretty good. I mean, Keith Quincy had 4 catches, 126 yards, and he's a two-way player. So they've got plenty of athletes that can step up. Other than all offseason, everybody talked about Nino Hill and Dante McClellan, great players, D1 talent, no question. But they've got other guys that can step up.
Well, I mean, what do you make of that, Rod? I mean, those guys weren't on the field. You're expecting your 2 best players to be on the field. I do not believe it was injury-related, so
Nope.
Anybody can tell any story that they want. Those guys were not playing because they were told by coach that you're not going to be playing. And you got to take a 2-hour trip and go with Dylan coming out of a hole 14-0. I mean, that's a hostile environment there, pal. I mean, it's not easy to come out of and without 2 of your best players.
Oh, there's no question, TJ. But one of the things that did happen in that game, that defense, McKinley defense, only gave up 1 score.
Yeah.
Right? The other 7 came from a pick 6. So I would say that based upon, a couple of their great, the performers not playing and the way they held up, right? As Jeff mentioned, you're down 14-0. Mm-hmm. You're 2 hours away. You're in Dublin, Ohio, Columbus. And I just think they did a great job, pulling that one out. And I also think that's going to be a signature win for them to boost them going forward in week 4.
It's a good win to go now ready to go right into the Federal League and start league play this week with Perry. So we'll see what happens there. We'll get into that in the next segment.
I'll tell you one of the real dogs on that defense, no pun intended. One of the dogs out there is Alex Vasquez. I mean, that dude year in and year out, last couple of years, he's kind of been the leader. Verbally out there on the field as well. You got to like that. You need guys like that, and I'm sure he brought a little bit of bark back to that Bulldog defense going down there. So interesting to see how they're gonna handle Federal League play opening up.
And Jeff talking about the field goal, or the kicker down there. Guys, I'll tell you what, it was kind of cool to hear you say that about McKinley's kicker.
Yeah.
Hoover's kicker solid. We saw the Buchtel kicker solid. The Maslin kicker solid. It's kind of cool to hear you say about the McKinley. I mean, I know you guys, you big dogs, man.
Solid.
I mean, it's kind of cool. I mean, right, that and you guys know better than anybody. You never know in that tight game it's going to come down. It did. Later in the show we're going to talk about Lake and Brecksville, Broadview Heights. What it do came down to the kicker. So that's kind of cool.
It's huge, right? I mean, you when you got special teams like that, it matters, especially going down the stretch, like you said. We watched in the Glen Oak game. The other team was going for 3rd and 20 on the 40-yard line because they couldn't do anything else. They could maybe pooch punt it or whatever. They didn't have anybody could kick a 40-yard field goal. They ended up, winning without needing it. But the point is, down the stretch, I don't know how far that team will go when they need a 35-yard field goal. They just don't have it. So
you have
it's
to have
huge.
A kicker. There's no question you have to have one in crucial situations. And there's a solid kicker coming in the Hall of Fame this Saturday as well. So,
majority of the time, if you have that, you're going to win ball games. I tried to lobby a softball there, partner, talking about those Lake special teams because, our guy J.R. Supa is out there.
My man, Soups,
special teams coach for the Lake Blue Streaks.
Absolutely.
We're gonna
get to him. We'll get to him.
We're not going to rush into it. We'll just give him a little taste here early in the first segment. All right, but for Jim, for you had a chance with Tim Budd to go out there to Louisville, and what a beautiful stadium. Again, we always give a shout-out to Athletic Director Terry Horn because she's one of the best in the business. Northwest, the Indians, with former Louisville coach John DeMarco, rolled up into town, got themselves a W. You were there to see it. You were there to call it. How did the action unfold?
Man, I'll tell you what, you're straight on, Tej. I mean, you guys know you've been out there. First time I've been in the football stadium, just a beautiful facility, man. Fans out there, if you haven't had a chance, try to pick up a Leopards game. It's just a beautiful place to be. And it was youth night, which was awesome, right? You always love to see them little ones out there, little cheerleaders and the football players, the future, of Louisville football. But I'll tell you what, the name of the night was Connor Satterfield. I mean, from Northwest. I mean, that guy, what a hammer. In fact, he was our Hilscher Clarke Electric Player of the Game.
Nice.
Did a great job. But I'll tell you what, first half was a little bit more Louisville, right? Owen Burek did a nice job. He was moving the ball around. Mr. Matt Crosby, number 24, did a nice job. A lot of receptions there. They scored early on in that first half. But I'll tell you what, the Northwest defense not breaking, right? There was some bend, no break, little back and forth. And what was crazy is, and I'm sure that folks all heard, right? A little bit of controversy right there at the end of the first half. Coach DeMarco, the wily veteran, right? So at the end of the second quarter there, he brings in the sophomore Tyler Pappas. Pappas drives him right down the field, and right there, about 8 seconds left in the first half, fires a pass over in the corner of the end zone. Great stop by Louisville's, that young man, Mr. Holt. I'm going to say it wrong. Boy, I don't want to do that to that young man. But Colton Loy, there you go, Colton Loy, great stop, right on the goal line, right? And Tim and I, we're not facing the clock, right? And all of a sudden, discussion, 1 second's put back on the clock. And Tim says, well, Coach DeMarco must have done like a wind sprint down there to get that timeout, right? And they put 1 second, ball goes to Satterfield, hammers it home. And again, right, you guys know better than anybody, it's a game of adjustments. And I'll tell you what, Coach DeMarco went in that locker room, made those adjustments, and I came up, and they just shut down the Louisville offense. I mean, Owen Burek goes tonight 12 for 21, 149 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Back behind him, Doherty and DiMarzio kind of went back and forth. But again, it was all Connor Satterfield. He just wore down the Louisville offense.
He's what they call a dude, right? He's a dude. He's out there. He put
Beast
on
dude, brother.
He put on like 25 pounds of muscle in the offseason. Worked with the linebacker / running back who had played just before him, Rod. So, I mean, you kind of know all about that. You get an older guy that you kind of see, okay, he's doing things the right way. I want to be like that dude. He's making plays both ways, running it, doing it at linebacker. And so Connor Satterfield has basically become a new, better improved version of what Jason Greenfield was for Northwest. And that's kind of scary because Greeny was a really good player, but it's a dude he looked up to, and he's kind of taken him under his wing, and that's kind of a special thing. It's pouring out onto the field now.
Well, leadership is critical, as you know, TJ and group here, that there's always someone that steps up.
Yeah.
And people will follow and respect. And any program that has that or embraces that is going to be successful, right? There's no question.
It's going to equal some wins,
well,
whether you're benching over 400 pounds or you're deadlifting 700, whatever it is. You may be a little bit less in that. You may be a step slower than your opposition. But stuff like that, those things you can't measure, sometimes will lead you to the victory.
Well, even what you talked about, Jim, with the youth being there and being involved, there's some programs around here that do a great job, youth program on up, and I think that's huge. Perry does a great job, Louisville does a great job, Northwest does a great job of getting these kids in the system young and early and involved at the high school level. And to me, that's huge. That goes back to what you're saying about the leadership. Having mentors that, that are 2, 3, 6, 8 years older than you that you can look up to improve on. It's just it's the secret sauce, if you ask me, on what works at the high school level.
Well, and guys, right, they lost Maraglia, right?
Yeah.
He moves, and for Satterfield to step up and step in, you talk about the leadership. Coach DeMarco was quoted saying, he's the heart and soul right now of this team. And it showed last night, or, Friday night at that game, finishes with 122 yards, 19 carries, 2 touchdowns. I mean, that young man is for real.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the other young man, Colton Loy, because he's a multi-sport athlete over there at Louisville, so he deserves some recognition. Really good kid, really good athlete, really good student athlete. All right, now we'll move forward here to the game that I got to see, man. I got a good one, guys. I'll tell you what, you like quarterback play. Which, I'm not really in for quarterback play. I just like linemen, But
you protect the quarterback. Come on, now.
Okay, so I'm into the quarterbacks when they take care of us.
That's right.
Take us out for a sandwich or something.
And if they don't, they're
get
getting
your
a
Rolex.
Like when you get to Rod's
they
level.
get Rolexes.
When you get to Rod's level, they start bringing
diamonds.
you extravagant necklaces.
Wow.
And
Diamond 72.
Will you wear that
exactly.
next week, Ron, please?
I have several.
Diamond crusted 69. Greatest player to ever wear the jersey number 69 at Michigan State right there. It was voted on by the people of East Lansing. It's true. All right, what is true? Canton South rolled into Sandy Valley. They got a dub. But I'll tell you what, Sandy Valley could have easily won that game, guys. There was a moment early in the game where, Sandy Valley from the jump at the coin toss said, you know what, we want them to have the ball. They're going to take the ball. We're going to give them the ball. And that's saying a lot when you're giving it to Poochie Schneider and the weapons that he has. Zion Culver, the running back, another guy, Rome Cox got out there, was running the ball well, played great on defense. But Sandy Valley stopped South. And it looked like it was like, wow, you could feel the energy. It just got pulled in for the Cardinals. They get to the 50-yard line, and they fumble the football. So they lost that possession, and then Kent South goes down, and they start the scoring. First score of the game, Zion Culver gets into the end zone. But it would go back and forth after that. And these two quarterbacks, Nick Petro and Poochie Schneider, I'm telling you right now, if you haven't had a chance to see these two kids, they are as great as I'm advertising them, if not better.
Yeah.
And, I mean, just with their legs, with their arm, their accuracy, the leadership. They have all the intangibles. These are true leaders, and you saw Petro at the end. His numbers were a little bit better than Poochie's, but you kind of had to give the Hilscher Clarke Electric Player of the Game to Poochie because they won, but man, it was hard not to give it to this kid because he took some shots. He was struggling to get up.
Well, you could be like Tim and I. We always hand out too. You know?
You give out as many as you want, but it was one of those games where you just didn't want to see somebody lose.
Right.
You know, and either team really had the opportunity to get it. Sandy Valley, I know, in front of their home crowds, the home crowd packed. Was it
electric?
It was electric, man. It was Hilscher Clarke Electric, just like the shirt says right here.
There you go.
You know, another thing, too, it was the Browns. Northeast Ohio Game of the Week, so it was their featured game. It was cool being spotted up in the press box next to them, being able to talk to them about some of the games they've seen. They said up till now, they said they had not seen a game. Now it's only early in the season. They saw 2 games beforehand. They said this is the best atmosphere we've been around. So Stark County showed out on that one.
So
Nice job.
TJ lived up to the hype, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. It lived up to the hype. It was sad to see either team lose, but you know what? It was cool to kind of see at the end there. You can go check out on our social media at Stark Media Team. Had some interviews not only with Poochie but his offensive tackle Max Cochran. He got out there. He's a really good basketball player too. Big kid, was finishing guys, man. You would have loved it big time. He was pushing guys about 10, 15 yards downfield, finishing them. They're rolling guys up. There was a 72 that was involved. Yeah. Somehow there was a 72 that was in the midst of it all. Pancaking. It was.
Imagine that.
It was a
pro or con.
It was a physical, fun football game. So South able to get the 35-27 victory over Sandy Valley. All right, that's going to bring up a commercial break for us. We're going to step aside, hear something from our sponsors, come back. We're going to break down some more football games led by the one that these guys got a chance to see last week as we get ready to open up league play here in Week 4 of Ohio High School football. Myself, TJ Downing, Jim Bostic, Jeff Tyler, Rod Strata. We'll be back with more here from the Presentation Center at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The Fraternal Order of Eagles number 190 in Massillon wants you. Stop down to the Massillon ARE at 303 Wyrick Boulevard Northwest. And like our over 1,800 members experience daily, your Eagles membership will give you access to great food and drink specials. Having a party? Hosted in our banquet facility and seat up to 400 people. When you're coming through downtown Massillon, stop by the Eagles and sign up. And for a small fee, you'll have access and be a part of a fraternity that donates over $100,000 a year to local charities. The Fraternal Order of Eagles ARE number 190 in downtown Massillon. Stop by or call us today at 330-832-7385. At C.H. Vallis & Associates, we've been proudly serving the greater Stark County community for over 78 years. Locally owned, we cover your home, auto, business, and life insurance along with your group benefits. Our partnership with auto owners has allowed us to span not only Ohio, but throughout the entire country. Did you know that Auto Owners, an A++ rated company by AM Best and a Fortune 500 company, has ranked C.H. Vallis & Associates a top 10 insurance agency in the state of Ohio? From your basic home and auto needs to insuring some of the largest companies in America, there's a reason people choose C.H. Vallis & Associates and Auto Owners. Our dedication and passion for our clients and their coverage is part of our commitment to excellence. For all your insurance coverage needs, there's only one call to make, and that's C.H. Vallis & Associates, located at 1302 South Main Street in North Canton. Contact us at 330-494-2776 today and see the difference in customer satisfaction. You came to Stark Media for the best? Well, now you got it. Check out Lindsay's Pizza on 2827 Whipple Avenue Northwest inside of the Hillsdale Shopping Center. The preferred post-game pizza of the Stark Media team is open until 11 p.m. and it has all the essentials for game day. Pizza, chicken, salads, and sandwiches are just a click away at lindsayspizza.com. But you should trust the former Ohio State All-American and just call them right now at 330-477-3800. 477-3800. This is TJ Downing for Lindsay's Pizza, and I approve this message. Welcome back into the presentation center inside of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm TJ Downing, joined again by my partner Jim Bostic, Jeff Tyler, and Rod Strata as we break down our Stark Media High School Football Weekly from games we saw, games we will see, and notable games around the area. All right, to my guys over here to the left again. They had a chance. They were out there on site, Bob Cummings Field. Eagles, the Golden Eagles, my Golden Eagles, which I'll be out there next week, man, ready for my Hall of Fame induction, but we need to fly in there feeling a little bit better, guys, than the performance that was put on last week. Austin Town Fitch and TJ Parker came into town, and they rolled over to Glen Oak.
Oh, there's no question, TJ. I mean, we were laughing a little bit off camera. It was a bird fight, right?
Yeah, bird fight.
It was a bird fight, and Fitch, the Falcons, certainly had complete control of the game.
Yep.
Deshaun Vaughn, very, very good quarterback. He did a great job. The thing with Deshaun I was really impressed with is he would sprint left or right and throw across his body, and absolutely be on the money. He even pulled a couple of Patrick Mahomes where he stopped and just flip it over somebody's head in the end zone.
Yep.
So he's a real deal. I mean, you think about this one, right? Fitch had 25 first downs. Glen Oak had 7.
Ooh, yeah, that hurts.
Wow.
Right? And what was the final? The final was 35-3, but it was pretty much an all one-sided game. Now, Glen Oak did have some bright moments with some long runs and some couple caught balls here and there. But again, they ended up with 3 points.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just wasn't even like a heavy penalized or anything like that. They didn't make a lot of mistakes. They just couldn't move the ball. I was surprised, Rod. They really packed everything in pretty much and was trying to get outside a lot. I'm surprised they didn't run Johnson. Johnson's got a couple hundred yards, through the first couple games. They didn't run him hardly at all up the middle. I felt like Glen Oak really struggled in the trenches.
They did.
Fitch
certainly
was running the ball at will. With DJ Williams. And when they didn't run the ball at will, then, like you said, Deshaun Vaughn took over. And Deshaun Vaughn is very much like our Poochie Snyder here in Stark.
Yeah.
If the kid wasn't 5'10", he would have some big-time D1 offers. And, if he was 6'3", 6'4", the kid can just sling it. The kid can run. Great
There's
vision.
explosiveness out of that first step.
Oh, no question.
Super smart quarterback, too. I mean, like you said, there was one time where he ran right and acted like he was going to tuck run, did a jump pass, touchdown in the corner. Kid's just athletic. And, with Glen Oak, I was a little surprised. It seemed like they moved the rock once they went 4 wide, and then they gave Avante Burt a little bit of space to run somewhat and be able to throw. I was happy to see that they tried to go to the tight end to Morrison on a couple occasions, but unfortunately, I predicted what was going to happen, and I think Fitch coach knew what was up because they picked it in the back of the end zone. It was that situation where it's like, if you're going to go to a tight end, 3rd and 3, inside the red zone, if you're going to go to the tight end, that's the spot to do it. They just brought the safety over and picked it off. So
you're right on, Jeff. And TJ, as we talk about offensive linemen, right? Glen Oak needs some work.
Yeah.
And the other part was, and I don't want to be redundant, but they didn't have wide splits. They had tight splits, and trying to get that ball up the middle against Fitch just did not work.
Well, and I was hoping they would, if they're going to go up the middle at all, run Johnson up the middle, not Avante Burt. It's kind of like that. We brought it up in the broadcast. It's kind of like that Eric Metcalf.
Yeah.
Third down delay with the smallest guy on the field. To me, didn't make sense. And I love my Golden Eagles. My kids go there.
No doubt, man.
So, so I'm not hating on the Eagles.
No.
I just think they need to make some adjustments. I think they need to spread the field and get some space for their athletes.
Hey, Jeff, shout out to your son, man. He had a heck of a week last week. He scored 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I believe one was a game winner.
Yeah.
Or was
Way to go, Pops.
Yeah.
baby.
He had a couple 75-yard tutties and
okay, all right.
all that work in the summer. He's working out with Cole Anderson and
good stuff, man.
Eckerman in the summer. So
That is good stuff.
Not bad for an 8th grader.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this about Fitch. I know that I've always been impressed with some of the skill guys there. I think they still have DJ Mitchell, they still have Dan Evans, guys like that for Deshaun to work with. But when you think about their defense and is Fitch legit when we talk about halfway through the season, maybe making a push for the playoffs or to win a couple playoff games? Do they have the type of defense to do that at Fitch?
Well, yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Right? So Glen Oak made a lot of mental mistakes again. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're asking that,
It's hard to measure it against.
It's hard to measure that defense when somebody's beating themselves, if you will. Right?
Yeah.
But I will say this: my first impression and only impression of that defense, they're pretty solid, Jeff.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they've got athletes all over the field. And when you're in the wrong spot, sometimes speed can make up for that. They definitely have that.
Yeah.
The thing that would concern me for them going deep into playoffs and winning is discipline. They weren't very disciplined. They had, 4
late hits,
4 15-yard penalties. Very undisciplined there. A lot of chatter going on. Little gray areas on, roughing people up. But, that's just their style of football, which is fine. But whenever you're going to get a 15-yarder after the one play was a 30-yard turnaround. They had a 15-yard loss, and then they got a 15-yard penalty, so it turned into a 30-yard gain for Glen Oak. So Glen Oak had not only their normal opportunities, they had 4 or 5 extra big opportunities and still couldn't get. So to answer your question, Fitch can play defense.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting, Rod, you talk about the mental mistakes, right? So Tim and I out at Massillon, we watched, Glen Oak and Massillon, that game, a lot of mental mistakes. And for you to say that the next week, there got to be something to get those taken care of, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys know that, the mental mistakes will kill you. You get a good drive going, all of a sudden something happens that stops, that what you've got going. So, Coach Garcia's got to get those taken. I'm sure he will.
Coach Garcia understands that, right? He's quoted in the paper and with media that they need to work on that, and I think they will.
Yes,
I still think Glen Oak is a decent team, and if they can manage the mental mistakes, do a little blocking.
See what they can do as we start Federal League play coming up here.
Yep.
Absolutely.
All right, I'll tell you a team who's not struggling. That's the Massillon Tigers. They took on the Mansfield Senior Tigers. We'll call them Twigers with the Y. And they're not struggling up front. I'll tell you what, they're tuning people up on the ground between Dwan Owens and Peyton Mitchell. They ran for close to 250 yards just between those two scores for Owens on the ground. But that offensive line led by the tackles, Sam Snodgrass and Nolan Hendricks, the guards, Jason Lewis and Mike Looney, Brady Jones at center. That's a pretty stout offensive line. I think it's probably one of the best you're going to find around the area. And they tuned up Mansfield Senior 51-10. So, things are just kind of still rolling. I know that you had a chance to see that 2 quarterback system, and they played it again well. Slaughter didn't have as much rushing production as Owens did, but they both were throwing the ball around the yard. Obviously, 51 points, not going to be much in resistance there. But I think really what you're kind of looking forward to here now as you look at the schedule coming up is you're going to have Elkhart, Indiana coming in for Massillon, and then you're going to get ready to see a St. Ed's team, and there's a measuring stick for you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, a big thing there, obviously, with Massillon. Talking to a couple guys, they ask about injuries, and they said, "Hey, we've not one, nothing yet, nothing that off the snap and everything." So they're healthy, man. Week 4, those guys stay healthy.
That was the craziest thing was their offensive line got banged up. So in training camp, you lose your starting tackle, Evan Sergo, who is probably one of the best returning tackles in the area, and now all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, man, we injury bugs bit us.
Yeah.
But they took who's probably going to be a natural tackle fit in college football at the D1 level, Nolan, the tight end, and it's like, okay. You could probably play tight end right now, but you put on 25 pounds and you're in college, you're an offensive tackle. So let's get you used to it right now, and it's working out.
Hey, I was a tight end once, and I kept going down.
We're talking to you, man. We're just talking your language.
My sophomore year of Perry, I was a tight end. Then all of a sudden, what happened?
Yeah.
Singing your song, brother.
That's a different body out here now. Hey, let me tell you about somebody different out there, man. You, Jeff, you had a chance to see it in week 1, but we got to make special mention of a player, Dan Boron from Central Catholic. They beat Richmond Heights 35-6. Nice. This guy set a school record: 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 receiving touchdowns, and a punt return touchdown. Wow. Dan Boron. When we saw him week 1, and, they're struggling against Perry, and it was wet out, and regardless of the situation, number 22 always shows up. I mean, Dan Boron is just an absolute stud player out there on the field for Trucker.
Great player and great kid. I've known him and his family for a long time, and he's just athletic and all Ohio last year, and he's showing it again this year. He just shows up, like you said. He's
defense, offense, special teams, doesn't matter. He's there.
He's taken a depleted Central team, and he's pulling them along and leading from the front and trying to get these young guys to show up and play hard. So
see if they can't make some noise once they get into the playoffs.
My little nephew over there, I'm proud of him.
You play up to competition in the regular season, get yourself ready for the playoffs. See if you can't make a run inside of your own division. Jim, you had a chance. You talked about it earlier in the first segment. Brecksville at Lake to kind of get some info, some deep insider info from our guy Soup over there, JR, linebackers coach, special teams coach, great friend of ours here at Stark Media. Well, for me, it was just the Blue Streaks kind of staying in the fight. You go through double overtime,
Yep.
you're talking 15, 16, 17-year-old kids staying mentally tough, staying in the deal, and kind of surviving that, man, which is it's at that point, one bounce of the ball in any direction, game's over.
No, absolutely. Guys, I'll tell you what, head coach Dan DeGeorge, he's the master seamstress. I mean, really their theme, is to get healthy, right? I mean, they've got some 2-3 year 2 or 3 guys that have started, for the last 2 or 3 years haven't taken a varsity snap yet, because of that. But I'll tell you what, Coach DeGeorge, he gets them, he puts them in a position to win, and that's what happened Friday night. And I'll tell you what, Brecksville coming out trying to get the 12th man involved, it was cowbell night, right? So they were handing out free cowbells, to the fans. So needless to say, hostile environment. First time Lake had ever played Brecksville, so that's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
And then you're going to end up getting more cowbell.
I'm glad you were there, and I'm glad we weren't there.
Yeah. But, no, and Teej, right, the defense is just really keeping these guys, in games, giving the offense a chance. Shout out there Friday night, Evan Brady, Ryan Lippy, Thomas Lombardi, all with quarterback sacks. Nice. Ended the first half 7-0. Lake still in the ball game. Lake comes back 14, right? Goes up 14-0. Quarterback Noah Kobowski. By the way, Noah, congratulations. Last week heard he committed to Kansas State on a baseball. Going to be playing baseball that night. Went 9 for 13, 141 yards, and he also rushed for a touchdown. But I'll tell you what, it's just what you said, Tej. It went into the overtimes, right? And I'll tell you what, a little discussion back and forth, right? We always like to sit on Monday and go, well, should I do this or should I have done that? Right. But right there towards the end, Coach DeGeorge had a 4th-and-1 situation, and instead of bringing out the field goal kicker, he decides to, go for it. And with a running back like Nate Baker, 34 carries, 148 yards, you figure Nate's going to take it, and no problem. Brecksville had different ideas, so they stop him there and goes into overtime. First overtime, a little back and forth. They had a chance. Lake couple sacks, right? And then Lake fumbles the snap, loses the ball. Second overtime, Brecksville sets up for the field goal. Lake blocks the field goal, takes it away from them. And this time, Coach DeGeorge sends out Kelton Dutton. Dutton lines it up, bang, puts it through. Game winning. They come away with a 17-14 win, 2-1 record, and ready to go against Glen Oak. This Friday night.
Again,
congratulations to the Blue Streaks. Right?
Kickers showing up.
I'll tell you what.
Hey, another
great
one of
job.
those great kickers around the area.
Man, I'll tell you what. Hard-nosed district, man. Yeah. Love the Blake Blue Streaks, man. Hartville out there. So shout out to Coach DeGeorge and his staff. You too, Soups.
It's always a cool environment there for sure.
Coach Dan DeGeorge, no more cowbell for him.
No more cowbell.
All right, we're going to take it to the next segment here. We'll be coming up next with Alliance at Streetsboro. Harrison Central came up to Malvern. The Hornets able to get a nice victory and stay undefeated. We'll talk about those 2 ball games. We'll break down some games that the 3 of us are going to be out at, or the 3 different crews of us will be at here this weekend. And we're going to kind of do a little feature here. We're going to have our pick'ems. We'll have 7 contests that we're going to do. We're going to do a pick'em here. We're going to kind of keep track, keep a little poll, see who's got the best numbers, and maybe somebody will get a Happy Meal.
Wait a minute, we got 3 football guys and a wrestling coach, and we're going to do pick'ems.
Yeah, and let me already tell you, odds.
You got a
favorite.
baseball guy.
Yeah. Baseball guy. Okay, so 2 footballs and baseball and wrestling,
or golf.
I'm going to tell you. Here's what they're going to do. Just because we're linemen, Rod, and they're a little prejudiced against us, they're going to probably go ahead and they'll give odds on favorite for one of these 2 guys to probably win the whole thing, and not the guys that really know.
Did we say prejudiced?
The smart guys up front, the big guys that get it done. Smart guys. We'll go ahead and let everybody know that the most intelligent players on the field are down in the trenches.
Correct.
Don't ever forget it. All right. One thing we don't want you to forget is a couple of our great sponsors here and our great fans that are kind of walking by out here. Shout out to all those.
Absolutely.
Walking the halls here of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Again, the Pro Football Hall of Fame this weekend, celebrating 60 years here. They'll have the gala on Sunday, which will be a black tie event. Also, you can check that out at profootballhof.com. Go in there and find out how you can get tickets to that event. There's still some available. But Saturday, if you're a Stark County resident, you can come out here, wave to the fans, everybody. You can come out here on Saturday as a Stark County resident, get in for free, and there's going to be a lot of special things going on throughout the day, but starting at 11, you're going to get a chance to meet Dave Robinson, the legendary Gold Jacket Packer, the Green Bay Packer, also Penn State Nittany Lion. You're going to get a chance to see Mr. Spartan, Mr. Spartan Jr. That's Mr. Spartan. Mr. Spartan Jr., Morton Anderson, he's going to be here, legendary kicker in the NFL for the Saints, Falcons, great career that he had. Also, you're going to have a chance to meet Joe DeLamalore, who's the legendary Buffalo Bill and Cleveland Brown. And I'm going to tell you what, this guy's done so much in the communities. Come out here and see Joe, Big Joe D, man. He's the guy that got it done in the trenches. So some great Gold Jackets out here. It's free to Stark County residents. They're going to have food. They'll have different prizes, raffles, all that stuff. So come on out here on Saturday and celebrate 60 years of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Also want to make special mention of Lindsay's Pizza, McNeil & Sons Tree Service, LPL Financial, H&H Truck Parts, C.H. Vallis & Associates, Clarke Insurance, Miracle Motors 42, Apex Surgical, and our good friends at the Leathernecks Nation MC, who are supported by the Sam Center and Save22.vet. Some great people that they've gotten us involved with, and our military, giving back to them, something we always do. Shout out again to Spirit of Stark and Simon Says Promotions. And when we come back, we'll have our pick'ems, break down the rest of these football games, and we'll be back on to week 4. The trail continues. The trail, right? They say right here, guys, the trail to Canton, right? Or the road to Canton, so to say.
Right. Journey,
Tom
baby.
Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. We're almost halfway through the high school regular football season. Okay, Back with more after this from the Presentation Center here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
McNeil & Sons Tree Service serves the greater Northeast Ohio area by keeping your property clear all year round. Do you have trees that have stretched too close to your home? A rotted tree that has to go? Or perhaps even storm damage? No job is too big or small for McNeil & Sons. We specialize in large tree removal, storm damage, stump grinding, land clearing, and more. McNeil & Sons Tree Service is fully licensed and insured, so contact us today at 330-606-1126 for all your tree care needs. Or visit us online at mcneiltree.com to schedule your free quote. The professionals at McNeil & Sons can inform you of your tree health and give you a risk assessment to keep your family protected. So call today, 330-606-1126. McNeil & Sons Tree Service, a company you can depend on with family you can trust.
Clarke Insurance is a locally owned home, auto, and life insurance specialist. Located in Cuyahoga Falls at 619 Portage Trail, Clarke Insurance puts their clients first, and as an independent agent, they are proud to serve their community. As a proud supporter of high school athletics in the community, give Clarke Insurance a call today at 330-929-6006 or visit them online at clarkeyinsurance.com. That's KACKLEY insurance.com. And thank you for your support of Stark Media and high school athletics around the area. The leader in quality drivetrain components, H&H Truck Parts, is a name you can trust. Located in Valley View, Ohio at 5500 South Cloverleaf Parkway, H&H can handle all your heavy-duty truck needs. Come in and exchange your transmission, differential, or power steering gearbox. But that's not all. H&H is equipped to handle all your parts needs. Permco pumps, Muncie PTOs, Neapco U-joints, Spicer yokes, new Eaton clutches, and more. Let the professionals at H&H Truck Parts handle your transmission or differential installation in one of their 6 service bays. Specializing in drivetrain repairs, stop by and have your drive shaft balanced, flywheel resurfaced, or your clutch installed alongside the best transmissions and differentials on the road. You know why they're the best? Because H&H is Ohio's largest purchaser of Eaton Fuller parts. Need a blower or a pump? H&H distributes Paragon and Permco brands. Names you can trust with your livelihood on the road. Call H&H Truck Parts today for the leader in heavy-duty truck parts and service. Call locally at 216-642-4540. Toll free at 800-601-4540 or check them out online at hhtruckparts.com. Welcome back in on Stark Media High School Football Weekly. I'm TJ Downing, joined by Jim Bostic, Jeff Tyler, and Rod Strata.
I used to be Chubb.
Today here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame as we get you set for Week 4 of Ohio High School Football coming up this weekend. Not before we talk 2 more games from this past weekend. One that kind of surprised me, guys, and stuck out was Alliance at Streetsboro. And, Jeff, you had a chance to, I believe, last year call Streetsboro at Northwest in the divisional round of the playoffs.
Correct.
In early rounds of the playoffs.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, so or sectional round of the playoffs, Streetsboro was able to take down Brendan Zerbrug, who was leading the team, leading the Aviators. I believe they were out 28-7 at one point, and 23 unanswered points for Streetsboro. And as we talked just a segment ago, special teams, special teams, special teams. That seemed to be the key right there that haunted Coach Tim Goodman and the Alliance Aviators as they would drop one to Streetsboro this past Friday night.
Yeah, a real surprise there. I didn't have a chance to, catch up with Streetsboro to see what kind of players they had coming back, but I know what Alliance has, and I know what Alliance can do, especially with that quarterback headed to Oklahoma. He's the real deal. Little surprise there. We were following it in the booth, and I was just waiting for Alliance to run away with it, and they didn't, and stumbled. But sometimes good teams, sometimes they maybe need humbled. I'm not saying I'm not saying they overlooked them. I'm just saying sometimes a loss is okay, especially going into this week and the league play.
Better to be humbled outside of the EBC than inside.
That's
of it.
all I'm saying. Yeah,
absolutely.
100%.
If when you lose a game, it's not a bad thing sometimes when you're this part of the season.
Yep.
Right? You get prepared, you think about it, you reflect, you fix everything, you keep moving.
Yep.
Well, that especially, too, mixed into the fact we know there's 16 teams that will qualify in each region, so that's it makes it a little bit different. I mean, you're going to have teams under 500 that will qualify for the playoffs, but, I'm sure you've been there before, Rod. You get into a situation where you're leading heavy, you think, we're in cruise control, we're up by 3 scores, we're in the fourth quarter, there's 10 minutes left, you almost start thinking, man, I can start to loosen up the tape a little bit, man, start to relax, and, I'm thinking about what I'm doing after the football game now,
right.
And all of a sudden, boom, a couple quick things happen. A couple quick turnover, change of possession, whatever it may be, special teams faux pas, however it shook out, and a lot of it was special teams for the Aviators, but in the final 10 minutes, then it just is like a domino effect, and you just feel like at that point we've been leading this entire thing, and now we feel like we're stuck in quicksand. We can't get out, and it's just we just can feel the imminent loss coming on.
Yeah, momentum is an interesting thing, and it's for real.
Yeah,
right?
It is.
Big time.
Especially when you have a lead and all of a sudden, you're trying to kind of defend the lead versus score more.
Yeah.
Or, basically grow the lead.
Yep. Win with class, so to say.
There's none of that. You got to run it up. I mean, you got to just keep playing. Just keep playing, playing, because when you stop, you're done.
Yeah, until there's triple zeros on the clock, you can't really can't let your foot off the gas.
Prevent defense, huh?
Yep, you can't do it. And, Jim, when we start to look at a team that's kind of rolling right now but had their hands full, Malvern, the Hornets, Coach Matt Churko, they took on Harrison Central. That was a battle of 2-0 teams. That was at home for the Hornets. And in the nest, I'm sure they were ready to rock and roll. The telltale sign to me is a guy we've talked about all through the last episode was Jared Withrow, the quarterback. Really phenomenal player, threw for 253 yards, 4 touchdowns, spreads it around, has good weapons. They graduated a lot of size up front, but I think you can make up for it now with a guy that has become a quarterback who just knows where to look and knows where to go every time. He's getting it out quick, and he's still just a young quarterback developing. So Jared Withrow, Matt Churko, I know there's a pretty good team down there in Malvern.
No, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, we're actually going to be down. Tim and I will be broadcasting, not this week, but we'll be down at Malvern.
Yep.
To watch them take on
Sandy Valley, I believe, right?
Sandy yeah, you're right. It's at Sandy Valley again, so very excited about that. No, you're right. That young man's really developed. Team's ready to go. They played well, the first couple weeks. I'm sure, Friday night's going to be no different as they continue on their run.
Another guy that kind of stuck out, Jeff, was Drake Hutchinson, 10 tackles. I know they're being active on defense, and he was a guy that we talked about last year with some of our fantasy draft that we did right here at the presentation center. Drake Hutchinson is a guy who got brought up in that. Big Frank McClellan, Babachek, a lot of different big guys down there, and kind of one of those keys that we talked about last week with our guy Chaz Rudowski out there at Tuslaw. When you have some big dudes at a small school, like a D6, D7 school, that alone right there is going to equate to some victories.
Yeah, I mean,
outsizing people. So
right.
Big fish in a little pond, baby.
Right. Well, we talked about the D1 athletes and how fast they are, and you can definitely see a speed difference depending on where you're at. And when you got a guy that big, that can take up some space and move some bodies around, it's especially at that level, is huge.
All right, Jim, you're going to get a chance this weekend to be out in your stomping grounds, partner.
That's right, backyard, baby.
We're letting you out of the stable, man. Stretch your legs.
Uh-oh.
You know, you're going to feed you a little hay before we get you out there, and then we're going to take you out.
And I'll be seeing the Golden Goat on Saturday.
We're going to water you and bathe you and get you all nice and cleaned up, looking good, get you out there in polar bear country. And I know you've spent a lot of time out there, and I know tomorrow night you'll be out there for a volleyball match. They're going to have you back out there doing your PA duties that you typically do. Jim, when you get ready to think about Mark Geis and the Green Bulldogs rolling into town, playing some really good football, just beat up on Talmadge. And Talmadge has had a pretty good program here over the past couple of years, had a shootout. I believe it was like a 49-48 game just like a year ago. But I think Mark Geis has a pretty good team coming in here. And I know from what they've told us about the Jackson Polar Bears, this is a team once Federal League play opens up with Eckerman, the way he's developing, that this is going to – I think we're talking two of the premier teams in the league this year.
No, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, prior to game time, I got to shout out my son, Jason. It's senior night, so Dad's going to be walking across. This is my last one, right, to go through. So, Jason, I'll be ready. I'll walk nicely for you. I won't make an idiot of myself.
Is he taller than you?
Every one of my kids is taller than me, Rod. I mean, when you
that's really why we're cleaning you up. We're cleaning you up.
Is that right? Yeah, exactly. No,
your wife called us. She just asked if
thanks, honey. No, but anyhow, senior night there for him. So, but no, you guys are absolutely right, and you guys called that Mayfield game. I mean, Jackson is electric, young quarterback. I mean, a sophomore, Lucas Eckerman, doing a great job. 814 yards passing so far this year, 10 touchdowns, has not yet to be picked, right?
That's the deal right there.
Absolutely. But you're right, Tej. I mean, the Salmon Manson comes in last week against Talmadge, 280 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, did have a pick, but 15 to 27, and he also ran for 60 yards. 3-0 Bulldogs, 2-1 Polar Bears. Guys, I'm going to tell you what, and those, for the last 2 years, those games have went right down to the wire, right? I mean, last year, Green won 29-28. Why? 2-point conversion, right? 2 years before that, I was at that. In fact, I called that up as a PA announcer. I called that game. Jackson wins 21-20. Why? Because they blocked a 25-yard field goal attempt for the Bulldogs to win. I'm going to tell you, the series right now, Jackson leads the series 13-5. It's going to be explosive. Tim and I are so excited. We are ready to go, baby. It's going to be great.
I think for me, too, I got a chance to call both those games when Eli Nero, he got his field goal blocked. And then last year, it's like, hey, let's just go for 2. And, to see some of the disappointment on the kids, it's one of those deals. You don't want to see either team lose, but – for Jeff and Rod, I mean, I know you guys have had a chance to see some explosion with wide receivers and packages, skill set guys. To me, I don't know if anybody's got a better trio than Coach Mark Geis. When you're talking about Semino Manson being able to throw the ball to Jarrett Taylor, we've seen him on the court, and he's a high flyer, both two-way player. Antonio Martin, healthy, which we talked about last week. And then mix in Zach Baglia. Zach Baglia is maybe the best returning receiver from last season.
I think the equal factor could be, though, Mayfield and Menor they were 2 good teams.
Right.
You don't think Green's seen somebody like that?
I don't think they have. Okay. Right? Now, they may have the athletes, they may have some better players, but I wouldn't bet against Coach Rohr.
Yeah. At home.
Home cooking, baby. That's, the place is going to be rocking.
Well, I'll tell you what, it should be fun. Now, for you guys, you're going to be on the other side of town, not too far away from us. We'll call it, if they're calling it Massillon Perry, we'll call it Massillon Jackson. Whatever it is. Washington's and Massillon too, man. So you guys are going to be over at Perry High School over there on inside of Keith Wakefield Stadium. Returning home is the legendary Perry Panther Hall of Famer, Rod Strata.
Nice.
I'm sure they will have the red carpet and roses, maybe a buffet, all that.
Everything.
Waiting for you. They'll,
do you have a special robe that they maybe put on you?
I don't wear robes.
Oh.
We
went down the wrong path there, Coach. Sorry about it.
We'll just get it. We'll snag one of those gold jackets out here. Maybe you can borrow Morton's. Morton will be in town.
I still have my Perry sideline jacket from 1,000 years ago. But going over to Perry is going to be a lot of fun for me, especially.
Yeah, no doubt.
I know Jeff and I are looking forward to this game. Last week, they did a good job against Euclid, right? They won 42-6. What's the gentleman, Ryder Hartshorn?
Ryder Hartshorn,
Hartshorn,
Boy, you guys said he was pretty built.
He's impressive,
guy.
He's chiseled.
So he had 3 touchdowns, right? And Perry threw for 102 yards.
Whoa.
That's like a miracle. Right?
Look on my notes. I was going to bring that up.
are-
When's the
yep,
last time
it's there.
a Perry quarterback threw
Well,
for over
think about
100?
this. Perry's Austin Maddox went 4 of 7. Now he threw the ball 7 times. Yeah.
And you're going to get a chance to see Coach Zach Slates tonight. You're going to stop out there
Yeah, I'm
and,
gonna see
and
Coach
hang,
Slates
hang with
tonight.
the team for a little bit after practice. And
See
I mean,
Coach-
just check his temperature. You know, you want a thermometer to take over there or something. Just see
Yeah.
if what's
Yeah.
wrong with you? 100
You-
yards passing.
I
You know what,
right?
though?
But
When-
Austin Maddox is a good quarterback.
when you're that successful in the wing tee, you don't need much more than 10 passes a night.
no,
But they do need to throw the ball more,
Yeah.
though, because, TJ called it last week against who did Perry lose to last
St.
week?
V.
St.
St.
V,
V,
right?
yeah.
St. V, they watched the film, they adjusted, and they won.
Yep, and there was a couple wide open passes that were dropped. So you got to, and if you're going to make them count, if you're only going to have 10 of them, you
Yep.
got to make sure you make
sure
them count.
connect,
it
baby.
puts a lot of pressure on your receivers, and we'll see how they react. I know,
Yeah.
Rod, the first time you and I ever had a chance to pop on a headset together was over there at Perry,
Right.
And I believe that was for a Perry McKinley game. Now, the way these things have gone the last couple years, and this is going all the way back to when Coach Wake was still there, but it just seemed as though the Panthers always had McKinley's number. Now, they were playing that deal, I believe, a week before the Massillon game. So that
Right.
was like a week 8 or a week 9 game they were doing that. And it was almost like, hey, it's a big game. Are we looking forward, the McKinley Bulldogs?
Right.
Now that you're playing it here a little bit early, I don't know how that changes things, but I know Perry was just kind of having their number there for a while.
They have. Jeff, I know, Jeff, what are your thoughts on McKinley?
Athletes all over the field. I agree with TJ. I think that when you're talking the biggest rival in high school football, in my opinion and most people's opinion, McKinley Massillon, there's no question that they're already looking to that next week already. So I do like to change them playing this early. Perry, they're another one that does a great job with the youth on up. And Perry just raises some dogs, as you know. They just at every single level, whether they're playing flag football or youth football,
Right.
those kids hit hard. They
yeah.
run hard. They
Grinders.
play with a ton of heart,
Yep.
and they're not going to go away. Contrast that, and I'm not saying McKinley isn't that way, but McKinley is, I think, has more athletes on the field and can fly around. They've got 4 or 5 guys that are going to go D1, and so it's going to be an interesting matchup.
It's going to be fun.
Got to have them on the field, though, right?
Got to have them on the
D1
field.
guys.
That's right.
Got to
Get
have
on
them on the
field.
field.
Let me tell you something.
Do things the right way.
The Panthers have always had a reputation of really smacking people around, stinging you. Right?
Yeah.
They'll come up and they'll play smash mouth football.
100%.
And honestly, what I saw, which I told you last week from the St. V Perry game, St. V beat Perry at their own game. They shortened it. They lengthened their offensive possessions. They kept Perry's offense and wing tee off of the field. They did not let them dictate the score, although Perry missed a couple shots, which Coach Slates knows. Hey, listen, our receivers dropped probably 2 touchdown passes. And that's the difference in the ball game when you lose 16 to 14. So I'm sure they'll figure it out, and I'm sure it's going to be a heck of a game. And really, all they have to look forward to is the winner of our game this week. So
Right.
McKinley is going to have Green. They'll host them at home, and then up next for Perry will be Jackson in Week 5. So
Nice.
as we head to the middle of the season, we've got a 4-pack of them for you here that are going to be squaring off inside of the Federal League. And I think what most people will say is the top upper echelon or top half of the Federal League. So we'll see how it all shakes out. We'll have some new info coming for you at Stark Media Team on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, on some new platforms with our friends at TKDS Sports and the OHSAA. Some things coming down as we release a show to you about the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We know this year, this celebrates 60 of them for the Hall of Fame. So make sure you pop out here on Saturday and make sure to patronize all of our great partners. And it starts with Eagles FOE 190 and Hilscher Clarke Electric Company. All right, guys, to the Pick'em polls we go.
All right, hey, before you start this, I want to throw something out here. We talked a little bit about this pick'em. I don't know if you two linemen would be open to this, Jeff. This is new to
Are
you
you getting
too.
nervous or what?
No way, brother.
hedging your
No,
bet,
no,
right?
no,
Is he
no,
hedging
no.
bets already?
No. Here's what I want. Here's what I'm going to propose. I'm going to throw down losers by, and I'm saying losers by the winners, Lindsay's Pizza for our last show. Jeff and I are going to take on you two guys in the pick'em.
That's fine.
I'm down with that.
Huh?
Okay, I got it.
100%.
By the way,
What do you think? The linemen versus the wrestler and the baseball player.
Let's do it.
You know,
Or
man,
the quarterback and the kickers.
You know what, man? Sweeten the pot. Throw a dozen wings on it.
That's right.
And wings,
There we go.
pizza
Well,
and
no,
wings.
no,
See, he's going
You
to
does it
get
yourself.
John to donate it after we win.
Hey, guys.
Oh wait,
Lance, I'll be
Right.
calling you, man.
A dozen wings. He'll eat those.
Okay.
Hey, real quick, shout out about the Hall of Fame. Now I'm really going to talk my age.
Okay.
When I was a young man, like very young man, the enshrinement ceremony was on the steps.
Yep.
The front steps of the Hall of Fame. I came up through that road today under the bridge. It just brought back a lot of memories.
Bet that was
They'd
cool.
pack them all the way
Yeah.
back to 77.
Yeah, but again, you could walk up and Jim Brown or whoever was getting inducted or whoever's here,
Yeah.
you were this close to them.
Very
Wow. Hey, I was born when this place was open, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was only like 4 months old. But whatever.
All right, so you're
just
60.
throwing it out there.
Special
No,
si-
you weren't supposed to say that, but that's okay.
Black tie event for
I'm
not
sure
only the
most
Pro
people
Football
couldn't do
Hall
the
of
math.
Fame, but
Yeah.
Jim Bostic on Sunday evening. Make sure to show up in your sportiest of black Speedos for Jim Bostic.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
All right, here we go.
All right, you ready, buddy?
Starting.
It's
I'm
brand new.
I'm
You know,
ready.
the lineman versus us.
All right.
Okay,
Wait
so-
a minute. Wait a minute. You don't think we can hear you?
Yeah,
I hope you can hear me, brother.
You made your point twice. By the way,
Yes.
we know how to adjust the block in less than a second on an audible. So
Look,
keep moving.
listen. He's running a got blitz on us. You know, Mike Ditka's over there yelling at him somewhere. Mike Singletary will be here in
Hey.
just a minute.
Kick $1,000.
Okay,
Kick $1,000.
so we'll take both of your picks.
Okay.
For Jim and for Jeff. Who's your winner of Green at Jackson?
We're just doing one pick?
No. You
we're-
guys
we're
pick
going
both,
individual,
Oh,
right?
we're gonna
We'll
calculate
yeah,
this.
Yeah, we'll tell
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
a team.
All right, I'm gonna go home team. I'll go first. I apologize.
Go ahead.
Hey, again, gotta go with my Bears. I'm gonna stay with Jackson. Probably a bad job, but I gotta go home team.
I'm going Jackson as well. I think it's going to probably be the game of the week. I think Jackson 28-21 over Green.
Who do you got,
Wait a
Rod?
minute. We have to give us.
Well,
No.
I hate to jump on this bandwagon, but I'm a firm believer in Coach Rohr and Lucas Eckerman. So I'm going to jump on the Polar Bears and pick them as well.
I'm going to go with the Green Bulldogs. My
There
boy
we go.
Mark Geis.
Ooh,
He knows what
okay.
he's doing. He's an offensive lineman. He'll outcoach the linebacker. So we'll see how that goes. All right, McKinley at Perry. Jim, who do you got?
McKinley at Perry. Boy, that's a tough one at Perry. I'm going to tell you, the guys are coming back on the field. I'm going to go with McKinley. I'm going to take the Dogs.
Jeff, who you got?
I've got McKinley as well.
Well, I can't pick McKinley. So
No, you can't.
So I'm going to go with an emotional pick in a loyalty pick. I'm going to pick the Panthers.
I'll go ahead. I'll do it for you. I'll take McKinley. All right, here's a big one. I'll tell you what, inside of the Pac-7, Canton South, they're going to be hosting Orville. Orville is playing some really good football. Orville and Canton South had a banger last year, which Orville was able to come away with. Canton South playing some really good football. Who do you guys like?
Are they at home or away?
Canton South's home team.
I'm taking the home team in that one. I'm going with Canton South.
All right. Jeff?
I'm going to go against my gut here. I think this is a possible, what I would say, upset alert, but I'm going to stick with Canton South over at Orville.
Yeah, I'll go with the Wildcats as well.
All right, Canton South. And I am going to go ahead and I'm going to take Orville. I think Orville comes in. Canton South, tough, put a lot out on the field last week. All right, East Canton at St. Thomas Aquinas. Two of the teams that are kind of struggling around the area. It should be a good game between the two, but who do you guys see coming out on top?
Who's home there, boss? I didn't hear you. I apologize.
East Canton is at St. Thomas.
East Canton. Wow. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go with Superintendent Finnefrock over there. I'm gonna go with East Canton.
East Canton.
I think whoever scores first wins. I'm going to take East Canton.
All right, I'll go the other way. I'll take, what is it, St. Thomas Aquinas Knights? Is that right?
Yep.
I think so.
I'll
Yeah.
pick the Knights.
That's where we level up, partner. I'm going to go ahead and stick with my man, Kevin Henderson. St. Thomas Aquinas gets the
Hey,
W.
don't tell Tim I went against his Knights. He'll
He'll just hear you, right?
Yeah. Mark Milano.
Sorry, Tim.
Mark and Tim, they're both going to be disappointed. You just got to say black and gold, and I'll be forgiven.
Okay.
Hoover at Louisville, the long-time battle between those two schools. What do you see?
I'm gonna go with the Vikings. I've seen both those in person. Coach Kappas is doing a great job. He's going to turn that program around. They're not there yet. I'm going with the Vikings.
Hoover it is.
Totally agree. I think Hoover boat racism. Hoover.
So, Jim, real quick, that scenario over in Louisville, you have a good home crowd there?
Absolutely awesome home crowd.
It's an awesome place. To
No, it's awesome.
Then I'm going to go with the Blue Leopards.
Okay.
Wow.
I'm going to stick with Hoover. I like where your head's at there, though, partner, because I think the crowd might play a little bit of effect.
Don't disagree.
All right. Tough ball game right here. Tuslaw at CVCA. Jeff, you had a chance to go up there and call that game at CVCA last year
Yep.
when Fairless was up there. Tough place to play. Hostile energy up in that crowd and anywhere outside the press box. Tuslaw at CVCA. What do you see, Jim?
I think if Tuslaw was home, they'd have a little bit better on their grass turf. But going up there on the CVCA turf, I don't think they can. I don't think they have enough. I'm going to go with CVCA.
All right. What do you got, Jim?
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go with Jeff. Both teams 2-1. I know that's great, but I'm gonna go with CVCA.
What do you got, Rod?
Well, I don't know much about either of these organizations, so you know what? I'm going to go against the grain. I'll go with the Mustangs.
I like it. Go against the grain.
That's it, baby. Keep it in Stark County.
Feed the Stangs. You know what? I like what they're doing with the big fellas up front. I think they can chew up some clock. They're gonna do some things negatively to CVCA. I'm going with the Mustangs as well.
Ooh, all right.
All right. So
that could be the turn, boys, right there.
Last game, fellas, should be a barn burner. Lake at Glen Oak. We'll see. Hey, maybe we get a different version of Glen Oak this week. I don't know. What do you guys expect?
Well, I'll tell you what, guys. For my first pick on that, I was going to go Golden Eagles, man, but I can't go against my man Soups, baby. So, Coach DeGeorge, guys, let's go. Come on, Blue Streaks for me.
All signs point to Lake winning this game after the last 2 weeks. However, I think Glen Oak is in a must-win scenario here. Glen Oak has got to right the ship. I'm going to take Glen Oak in an upset.
Well, I'm gonna go with another Spartan, Rob Stradley's alma mater. I'm going to go with Lake.
Going with the Lake Blue Streaks. I, too, am going to take the Lake Blue Streaks. I think it's just I think it's pouring on the Eagles right now. I think it's going to be a close game. Close game. They'll figure a couple things out. It's going to help them here get a couple wins inside of the Federal League, but I think Lake gets this one done. All right, so we'll total them up. We'll keep them rolling for you as we come into next week's episode. Go ahead and start thinking about the sauces. I know
I am
teriyaki, honey mustard. I'm a big fan of the
We're ready, baby.
So the fellas
Don't
are
mess
getting
with the
hungry.
kicker and the
If
quarterback.
you're getting hungry, check out Lindsay's Pizza, 477
I love
3800.
arrogance. I do.
Lindsay'sPizza.com.
Confidence, brother.
Also, check out all of our other great partners, C.H. Vallis and Associates, Apex Surgical, H&H Truck Parts, Cackley Insurance, Spirit of Stark, Simon Says Promotion, LPL Financial, Miracle Motors 42, our good friends at Leatherneck Nation MC, Sam Center, Save22.vet, Hilscher Clarke Electric Company, McNeil & Sons Tree Service, and our good friends at the Eagles FOE 190. Again, we want to give a special shout-out to Rich DeRosiers, Cheryl Shepard, their crew here inside of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, setting us up inside of the Presentation Center. Make sure to come out here on Saturday, 11 o'clock. Dave Robinson kicks it off, and it'll go all the way through until 4 o'clock. Get a chance to see in between there two-pack of Michigan State Spartans, Joe DeLamalore, and also Morton Anderson. So great stuff going on here as we celebrate 60 years at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and that wraps up another show for us. All right, guys, any last final thoughts here as we head into Week 4 of Ohio High School football?
Nah, man, it's hard to believe it's Week 4 already. Going to be halfway through next week. I'm excited for our game. You know, Tim, ready to go, man. Bulldogs, Polar Bears, let's do it.
Yeah,
it gets real now. Scrimmages are over. It's league play.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to going back to my alma mater and see how they fare against the Bulldogs.
All right, for myself, TJ Downing, Jim Bostic, Jeff Tyler, and Rod Strata, we say so long. We'll see you again next week. We'll see you on Friday. Make sure to follow along on some social media stuff at Stark Media Team, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. You'll be able to find out some new updates as we get you set for Week 4 of Ohio High School football. So long, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Don't leave me hanging.